Welcome to Hopeful, conversations about hopelessness, anxiety, depression, and the God of all hope. And today I'm sharing on how do you help other people who are sitting with depression and who is really struggling in this area of their life. How can you be a good friend, a good spouse, a good family member to help these people? I'm going to read two scriptures for you. The one is out of Ephesians 4 verse 15 that said, "Speaking the truth in love, we will grow to become in every respect the mature body of Him who is the head, that is Christ." Speaking the truth in love. And then another scripture in Galatians 6 verse 2 that says, "Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ." Now I believe as Christians, as followers of Jesus, we need to be truth speakers and we need to be burden carriers. God has placed you amongst people who might be crying out for help in this time. You might have a friend or a spouse or a family member that's really struggling with depression, thoughts of anxiety or even suicide, and you can help them. I'm going to give you one or two pointers out of my life, things that you should do and things that you shouldn't do. I hope this really helps you. First of all, do not underestimate the ministry of presence. Sometimes you just need to be with people. Just sit there. Just be with them. Don't give the cheap answers. Don't give the quick answers. Cry with them. Mourn with them. Experience the loss that they might be going through with them. Think of the friends of Job. The first week, that's what they did. They just kept on doing that, but they just sat with Job. Sitting with people is very precious, the ministry of presence. Secondly, ask them, how can you help them? How can you provide help or alleviate their need? And then listen to them. Ask good questions like, what do you need from me? In what area can I help you? Then thirdly, help them to give support. You know, for some people, it's very scary to go to the doctor or the psychiatrist or the psychologist. Say, hey, I'll go with you. I'll be there with you all the way. Because it's unfamiliar, it's scary, it might be shameful. Go with them. Invite them to whatever it is that they like doing. Whether it be to go for a movie or to go and just be with some friends or whatever it is, but just get them out of isolation. Invite them to church. You know what? They might say 10 times no, but maybe once they will say yes. That might be the breakthrough time for them. Help get them out of isolation. Remember, depressed people, anxious people feel like a burden already. And they'd rather be in isolation. Then be authentic and don't try and be overly happy or try to lighten their mood, because that actually makes people feel even more guilty about their own negativity, their own depression. It might be good to crack a joke here and there, but don't overdo it. And if they don't laugh, don't scold them for that. People with depression really sit with a deep sadness sometimes and deep negativity. Give them time and give them space. Help them with their everyday tasks. Instead of saying, let me know if there's anything I can do for you, consider saying, what do you most need help with today? Be specific. Help them get through the day. Yes, sometimes we need to be the back rubbers and just have support there, the ministry of presence. But I also believe, as the book of Ephesians says, we need to be wise, listen to the Spirit to speak the truth in love. Sometimes we need to speak the truth so that a lie can be exposed, so that a sinful pattern that is actually maybe even causing some of this depression and this anxiety, that it can come to the light and that God can really set that person free. Encourage them to exercise or to do some hobbies and maybe start something new with them on your journey. And in this process, please look after yourself as well. It can be very draining to walk with somebody that has depression. I remember my poor mom and dad I know it was sometimes so draining for them, and they just needed their space. They sometimes also just needed to get out and do their own thing. That's where healthy boundaries are so important. And don't take it personally where they are batting you the whole time. Please look after yourself as well, and don't take things too personal. What you shouldn't do, first thing is, please never tell somebody to just snap out of it. That's the worst advice you can give, because it's not that easy. It is not that easy. It is very complicated for people. Don't try and fix them immediately. Don't give them that one-liner that you think will just seal the deal. As I said, don't take things too personal when they ignore your phone calls, or where they rather stay in isolation, or where they actually sometimes would lash out in frustration or anger against you. Try and not take it personally. They are hurting, remember? And hurting people hurt other people. Don't make their problem smaller than it is, because that actually is heaping more doubt and more shame on them and more guilt on them. Don't put that other person's need and say, hey, do you know how that person is suffering compared to you? Don't do that, because it really makes them feel even more guilty. I know it might be true, but it's not helpful in that moment. And then, of course, if people are having suicidal thoughts, you have to be very vigilant. I considered suicide twice on my journey, my battle with depression. Thankfully, I never went over into action. But you feel so helpless. You have no idea where to go to. You think it's the only way, and the enemy lies to you about this. I know some people misuse threats of suicide to get attention, to manipulate. And you'll probably know that if you know there's been a pattern and they've never acted upon that. But I'd rather err on the side of caution. Help them get help. You'll see every time in the episode at the end, we're giving some phone numbers and websites where you can get help. Get help and let them understand the gravity of their words. Try and see the signs. It will be signs like people getting their affairs in order, people writing letters to everybody, saying goodbye to you much longer than they normally do. Watch out for the signs. They're probably isolating themselves even more than ever before. Friends, I know we have a massive role to play, and ultimately we cannot save people, but we can take them by the hand, carry their burdens, speak truth, and take them to Jesus, where I believe the ultimate redemption and healing lies. But you have a role to play, and in so you can fulfill the law of Christ, the law of love.